Hey everyone, so today we are joined by a very special guest, and I met him back in 2020 when we were at Toastmasters, and we were really awestruck by his presence. You see, when you see someone and there they go, and finally when you see them, कि यार ये तो पक्का इन्होंने MBA की है, and he is a very established speaker. So this is how we met. So I'm talking about Devesh, a very good friend of mine, and when he came to the Toastmasters meeting, he was all well dressed, and being the extrovert that I am, तो मैं गया and मैंने इनसे बात किया, and I understood how great a person he is. And that time you were in Yes Bank, right?
Yes.
Right. So he was in Yes Bank, and I was serving Toastmasters back in 2020, and he became a member, and then we got to know each other. And finally, Devesh, we're here doing this podcast with you. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling, first of all, Hriday, that I've been really longing for this moment.
Hmm.
And I'm really happy about it that finally we're doing it today. And internally, yes, I'm nervous, but somehow I'm managing it. I'm also looking forward to a great time with you today.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Devesh. And it really motivates me. We were planning this in a long time, and लगभग 2 साल तो हो गए होंगे.
Yes, yes, of
Just
course.
just planning, and finally this is happening. So this is how you manifest things, and things really happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so Devesh, everyone wants to know, ki, who are you and what defines you as a person?
Okay, so if you talk about my role, my let's say designation, so I'm a corporate trainer and I'm a public speaking coach. I primarily work for I primarily work with the corporate employees in the areas of personal development, communication, and leadership. So I have a
Hmm.
company which is Next Step Learning, which is a training and development organizations, and we train corporate people primarily on these three levels, which is personal development, leadership, and communication. I also coach people online on public speaking and communication. That's that I do. So my if you talk about my high ticket programs are corporate training, but otherwise I coach people online on public speaking areas.
Understood. And how did you start with this journey of becoming a public speaker trainer? Because I believe कहीं ना कहीं से आपने भी start किया होगा.
Yeah, so I would say, so I'll just tell you a story, I mean,
Hmm.
where I come from, what I did, and who am I
Hmm.
exactly. So I was born in a very small town called Champa, which is in Chhattisgarh.
Hmm.
So Delhi में मैं कई बार लोगों से बात करता हूँ, तो I get to know that people have not even heard of state called Chhattisgarh.
Hmm.
So वहाँ पे एक जगह है Champa, वहाँ पे I was born, and back then, of course, एक एक pretty छोटे टाउन वाले के साथ ये होता है that we did not have any resources, we do not have anybody to mentor you, to direct you. So वहाँ पे जो चल रहा होता है वही लगता है कि वही सही है.
Hmm.
And my schooling was in a very average school from Lions Club, I still remember. And I still remember वो स्कूल में था कि मतलब स्कूल का नाम था लायंस क्लब स्कूल था, बट स्कूल में लिखा था लायंस इंग्लिश स्कूल, सो दैट पीपल आर अवेयर दैट ये इंग्लिश स्कूल है. एंड इंग्लिश वहाँ पे ऐसा होता था कि मुझे आज भी याद है जब टीचर को क्लास में पिन ड्रॉप साइलेंस इंश्योर करवाना होता था. So the teacher would just shout, अब हर कोई इंग्लिश में बात करेगा. And certainly there's a pin drop silence in the class. So that's how the schooling happened.
Hmm.
And as a kid in the school, I was very submissive. I was very introvert. I always lacked confidence. तभी public speaking training तो कुछ पता ही नहीं था कुछ. उसके बाद finally school time was over. I went on to doing my graduation, and I was in Karnataka in a place called Davangere. जहाँ से मैंने engineering करी. और वहाँ भी कोई हंकी डोरी ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. That also went off just like below average student. जितना मार्क्स चाहिए था उतना पास, उतना 60-70% ले, 60%, not even 70.
Hmm.
That's how engineering happened. I think great things happened after I landed in Delhi way back in 2002, जब मैं
Okay.
यहाँ पे MBA कर रहा था.
अच्छा.
So जब मैं MBA कर रहा था, so अच्छा यहाँ पे since I had not done any skill development,
Hmm.
जहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा कुछ सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन हो गया, कम्युनिकेशन हो गया, इन सब चीज की कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं था, जस्ट लाइक अ रॉ प्रोडक्ट.
Hmm.
सो एमबीए में भी जब मैंने देखा यार एमबीए तो इट्स ऑल अबाउट लोगों के सामने जाना, बोलना, प्रेजेंट करना, और दैट वाज वन एरिया आई वाज ऑलवेज लैकिंग. सो यहाँ भी मैंने आई प्लेड वेरी स्मार्टली. यहाँ भी दोस्ती मैंने उन लोगों से करी हु वाज लाइक वेरी गुड प्रेजेंटेबल, दे वुड स्पीक अप, स्पीक आउट एंड ऑल. तो ऐसे से करके एमबीए में निकल गया बिकॉज इट वाज ऑल अबाउट more than 60% was about talking to people in front of people and all. But I think a couple of amazing things happened with me when I was doing my MBA was जब MBA में जब मैं लास्ट सेमेस्टर में था एंड कैंपस प्लेसमेंट हो रहा था. सो एक दिल्ली की उस टाइम पे ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 20 years ago एक स्टार्टअप कंपनी थी विच वाज अ ट्रेनिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट कंपनी, जिसको उस टाइम पे खुले आई थिंक 3-4 साल हुए थे. दैट कंपनी केम फॉर द कैंपस प्लेसमेंट and I got selected among 40 people.
Hmm.
40 people में मेरा सिलेक्शन इसलिए हुआ था बिकॉज जिस दिन इंटरव्यू था उस दिन बाकी 39 लोग आए नहीं थे. Yeah, so I don't take a lot of pride in that saying, but yes, that was reality. So I think ये अच्छी बात ये हो गई थी कि I think कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ब्रेक मिला,
Hmm.
and I landed up my first job was a startup which was a training and development organization जहाँ पे self development के बारे में बहुत सारी चीजें पता चली, and that where the journey began. And initially I was doing a very basic administrative work. तो जैसे मैं ट्रेनर्स के साथ जाता था, and I'll simply arrange chairs, I'll distribute handouts. जब हम वीडियो चलाते थे, I'll switch off, switch on the lights, and sit in the AC cabin, listen to them was an amazing experience. So कहीं ना कहीं वहाँ से शुरुआत हुई थी, and वो करते करते मुझे कहीं ना कहीं पता चला कि I think this is an amazing field जहाँ पे कुछ work on करना चाहिए,
Hmm.
and that's how training happened with me. Yeah.
Understood. So this was your very first experience in the learning and development phase, your training and development phase.
Yes.
And then past this, how did you join different organizations?
Yeah.
And then finally your stint with Yes Bank was also there, right?
Exactly.
And what was your highlights of that stint? कि मतलब what did you think कि यार इसमें भी मुझे मजा आया but उतना नहीं जितना मुझे अपना करके आएगा.
Okay, so I was aware about training. How does a training company work in that very first company? And that company was based out in Connaught Place only.
Right.
यहीं से मैंने start किया था. Visiting in almost like Connaught Place. And जब उस work में जब मैं था, and I used to go to different corporates, और जब trainers की बातें सुनता था, I used to feel very very happy because उस process में I was also learning. And I think the beauty lies in जब आप खुद को देखोगे that you're also evolving as a person, and you're also discovering a lot of dimensions of yourself. Or I think moment happened with me when जब इस company में काम कर रहा था, and I used to report to a lady who was a
Okay.
senior trainer.
Okay.
And me, after I joined this company, and this lady happened to resign within 6 months.
Okay.
And it was a startup, बहुत ज़्यादा employees भी नहीं थे.
Mm-hmm.
So मुझे बोला गया कि now you have to wear this cap and you have to go to companies and you have to start delivering training. So कहावत होती है ना कि वो बोलते हैं ना कि मतलब there are two ways to become a man. एक होता है कि join an army and be a man. दूसरा होता है pulling men out of the boy. तो second मेरे साथ हुआ कि pulling men out of the boy. So मेरे पास कोई experience नहीं था. It was merely I think 6 months. और one good thing ये हुआ कि उस समय हम बहुत सारे schools के भी program करते थे.
Okay.
तो schools के program में I started doing half an hour programs बच्चों के सामने. That half an hour became 1 hour, 1 hour became half day. So वहाँ कहीं ना कहीं मुझे edge मिला that I can stand and talk in front of people. And then this resignation happened of this lady who I used to report into. And उसके बाद मतलब सीखने का बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं था. It was like the need of the hour कि मुझे बोलना ही है. So I would prepare overnight, कुछ पढ़ता, कुछ example देखता, मेरे notes बनाता, मेरे के सामने practice करता, और वो मैं करता like that. And कहीं ना कहीं I think that 2 years was very very transformational because self development बहुत सारा हुआ था. I used to ask a lot of questions with these trainers available. और फिर एक चीज ये है कि one good thing about being in this domain is that you get to meet a lot of I think some of the finest people of the industry. They're like the great speakers. They have achieved amazing things. So कहीं ना कहीं शुरुआत ऐसे हुई. उसके बाद मैं सेकंड कंपनी was Pantaloons जहाँ पे मैंने काम किया था रिटेल में. I went on to working with HDFC Bank जहाँ पे मैंने sales training वहाँ पे मैनेज किया था. And I used to work very closely with the sales people on the ground, and that gave me an amazing stint with the bank जहाँ पे मैंने almost like half a decade मैंने काम किया था. उसके बाद just because I had worked in banking domain and I had managed training in a very very macro level, मेरे को ब्रेक मिला येस बैंक पे जहाँ पे आई वाज मैनेजिंग ऑलमोस्ट लाइक पैन इंडिया ट्रेनिंग फंक्शंस एट येस बैंक. And then before I joined the bank, I think in 2014 में Next Step Learning, which is my company, had already started it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a very small company, and I was doing very minuscule work. The company was not very active. After I left Yes Bank, I was fully into it, and the company actually. Then I actually started serving a lot of corporate people, and I started doing a broader level work. That's how it happened.
Understood. And this when you had this experience of कि यार मुझे अपना शुरू करना है and I want to start this next step learnings, what made you think यार मुझे इसमें करना ही करना है? What were you passionate about कि delivering value to people or just talking to people and thinking कि यार हाँ I can do this so I should be doing this?
Because ट्रेनिंग में रह के मुझे ये लगा कि which is a reality that I think कहीं ना कहीं I'm able to add value in people's life.
Understood.
अच्छा, अगर मैं एक कॉर्पोरेट के अंदर अगर मैं एक प्रोडक्ट ट्रेनिंग या प्रोसेस ट्रेनिंग भी दे रहा हूँ, तो कहीं न कहीं आई एम आल्सो इम्पार्टिंग नॉलेज एनहांसमेंट टू द पर्सन्स लाइफ,
राइट।
राइट? और चूँकि मेरा एरिया हमेशा से एक बिहेवियरल और स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे था।
हम्म।
एरियाज़ लाइक पर्सनल डेवलपमेंट हो गया, टाइम मैनेजमेंट हो गया, एटीट्यूडनल ट्रेनिंग हो गया, इंटरपर्सनल स्किल्स, कम्युनिकेशन। सो इन प्रोग्राम्स को करके मुझे बहुत मज़ा आता था।
हम्म।
एंड आई थिंक दीज़ आर द एरिया जहाँ पे यू कैन डू अ लॉट ऑफ जस्टिस. uh, there are a lot of things people are not even aware, and through activities, through games, and through knowledge nuggets, you are able to add a lot of value in people's life.
हम्म।
और कहीं ना कहीं यही एक motivation factor था that I'm able to add value in people's life, and I wanted to take it to the next level. And that's where this idea popped up that I think I should get into something which where I can focus at one thing, which is training people at a broader level.
अंडरस्टूड।
Yeah.
एंड व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट ट्रेनिंग पीपल, आपको क्या लगता है, व्हाट डू यू रियली थिंक कि इंडिया में इस समय बहुत ज़्यादा लैकिंग है, जिसके लिए यार मुझे आई वांट टू स्पेशलाइज इन दिस, कि यार मुझे ना, आई, इफ पीपल थिंक अबाउट दिस ट्रेनिंग देन दे शुड थिंक अबाउट माय नेम।
ओके, सो I'll tell you कि मैंने प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे आइडेंटिफाई किया था.
राइट।
So I solve problems at two levels in my
ओके।
current work.
ओके।
Number one is that I solve problem at organizational level.
हम्म।
Second is individual level. So I'll
हम्म।
give you an example. So organization में when I started working in this training in development domain,
हम्म।
I figured out somewhere that हर organization में क्या होता है, there is this vision.
राइट।
Organization का vision है,
सही।
right? And the pity is that when you come down to the people who are on the bottom, they're not even aware of that vision. So they
एग्जैक्टली।
have their own vision.
हम्म।
Organization has their own vision, and
And
they're like they're always conflicting.
एग्जैक्टली,
People will always be just
मिसअलाइंड, हाँ।
exactly. People will always disagree कि मेरा boss ऐसा है,
हम्म।
management ऐसी है, मेरे को तो ये pay scale and all that.
हम्म।
That's one thing. That's A of this component. B is that the biggest damage to an organization is that when people are ignorant,
हम्म।
right? कि अगर किसी एम्प्लॉइज को अगर पता भी नहीं है कि मेरे को जो मैं कर रहा हूँ वो राइट है कि नहीं है,
हम्म।
and for that matter if the person is doing the wrong thing, for example कुछ सेल्स में है and he's not even aware of the sales, let's say vocabilities, सेल्स फंक्शंस क्या होता है, प्रोसेस क्या होता है, मुझे पिच कैसे करना है, मुझे ऑब्जेक्शन कैसे हैंडल करना है, मुझे क्वेरी कैसे सॉल्व करना है, मुझे कस्टमर की एक्सपेक्टेशन से बियॉन्ड कैसे सॉल्व करना है, तो वो गलत चीज को करते रहेगा. और
मेक
गलत चीज
सेंस।
को करते रहने में प्रॉब्लम ये होती है दैट इट ऑल्सो हैज अ कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट,
हम्म।
राइट? सो एक तो विजन का मिसमैच होता है और दूसरा पीपल आर इग्नोरेंट, एंड आई फाउंड अ बिग गैप ओवर हियर, एंड दैट इज वेयर I think I'm able to cater this difference,
हम्म।
because we have some training solution, we have some training programs, and we have some of the finest trainers of the industry.
हम्म।
We are able to bridge this gap by our training programs. And when I'm saying training programs, these are not simply training programs that we stand, will show you PPT, and will just train you and will tell you and will make you learn things. Not like that. But these are the I think our specialization or the methodology is that our everything is discovery based.
हम्म।
It is activity based. It is experiential learning. And how an individual find a lot of value is that through our training programs, they're able to hone their three areas, which is attitude, skills, and knowledge.
हम्म।
And that's where they find they hone themselves uh, towards the next level, and that's where they start working on these three levels, which is attitude, skills, and knowledge. So that's
अंडरस्टूड।
number one.
सो एटीट्यूड, स्किल्स एंड
Knowledge.
नॉलेज। सो एटीट्यूड तो आप चेंज कर सकते हो, राइट? स्किल्स भी यू कैन टीच एंड नॉलेज ऑल्सो कैन बी इम्प्रूव्ड। सो हाउ डू यू मेक दिस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड व्हाई दीज थ्री थिंग्स ओनली?
Okay, क्योंकि आप देखोगे there is a research which says what so there is something called
हम्म।
ask principle, A,
ओके।
S, or K,
ओके।
which is attitude, skills, and knowledge.
अंडरस्टूड।
And the research says that the success,
हम्म।
so right attitude is 85% success. The
हम्म।
balance 15% success comes only from knowledge and skill,
हम्म।
right? And for example, let's say if I have to train you on something, if I have to train you on this, how is this, let's say, paper cup is made.
ठीक
So
है।
I'll give you a literature, you read that, you'll get to know this product,
राइट।
right? And I'll tell you how to sell this.
हम्म।
I'll take you, I'll handhold you in the market, and you're able to sell this.
हम्म।
But if you say that, no, I don't want to sell it, that's your
हम्म।
attitude problem. I
हम्म।
will not be able to do a lot of things. And that is where, if you have the desire, intent, right, or
हम्म।
intentionality, and that's
हम्म।
the bigger, broad picture, which is attitude.
हम्म।
Right? So हमारे प्रोग्राम्स में क्या होता है ना, वी कहीं ना कहीं वी मॉड्यूलेट द एटीट्यूड
हम्म।
through personal experiences, through role plays, through case studies, through business, let's say simulation games, and that
हम्म।
is where we impact directly on the attitude, so that the person is able to change the perspective towards the job, right?
Hmm.
towards everyday deliverables, and that's where we make a difference.
Makes sense. Makes so much sense at so many levels, because I've also done some hirings and I know people, and I also work at a startup, and I also believe at some level कि आपका attitude बहुत matter करता है, right? I can impart you skills, I can teach you things, you can be knowledgeable, but if your attitude is not at the right place, you will never be able to learn, grow, make good friends, make the right use of things. So I believe it's very important. You said two things about changing in people जो problem आपने identify की.
Yes.
First was
Organizational level, and I was
organizational
about
level.
to tell you the individual level.
Understood.
Yeah.
You said ignorance was one of the important things, right? How do you think you're improving people? क्योंकि when I see employees being ignorant, तो इट कम्स डाउन टू उनके कोर लेवल पे ऐसे रहता है कि यार ये तो कंपनी ऐसी है, चेंज होना बहुत मुश्किल है, राइट? एंड दैट इग्नोरेंस रन्स डीप डाउन इन एवरी एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द इंडिविजुअल फिर. तो हाउ डू यू प्रोसेस दिस एंड हाउ डू यू ट्राई टू चेंज दिस?
You talk about the ignorance part, right?
हम्म.
Uh, up tak, I think I must have trained more than 10,000, more than 10,000K, more than like 10 lakhs people I must have
Understood.
met. I'm not saying that I've trained or transformed, but I think even if I take 1%, I think kahin na kahin I'm able to impact more than 10,000 people, right? And I think at a broader level, uh, ignorance is very, very damaging,
Right.
right? Ignorance is very, very damaging. Kahin na kahin, we need a people in life. You call up, you talk about a personal life or a professional life. We need someone who could direct us or tell us the right thing, right? It's only the presence of me, uh, traveling towards the right direction, or me leading towards the right direction. I'll make a significant difference in my life, or I'll be able to produce significant result. And that's where we come in the picture. So we tell them. So that's what, if you talk about the change process, they talk about three things.
Okay.
Number one, you need to unlearn, and then you learn, and then whatever you have learned, you have to freeze it.
Right.
So we first, हम क्या करते हैं कि अपने ट्रेनिंग सेशन में we make them feel very, very uncomfortable.
Okay.
Let me be very blunt about it,
अच्छा.
right? It's only because everybody in the organization, outside the organization might, or somebody, I think जो सबसे बड़ा डैमेज हमारे साथ जो करते हैं ना, वो हमारे फैमिली और रिलेटिव्स करते हैं. They'll never tell you the real things. They'll always tell you the goody things, like a sugar coated things, and that's where आपको लगता है that I'm good. You don't have this urge of changing or moving out of your comfort zone.
Right. Right.
So हम पहले participants को बहुत ज्यादा खराब फील करवाते हैं that you are bad, you are not good. ये जो चल रहा है ये नहीं चल रहा है, मतलब ये this is not something which will take you somewhere, right? So we make them realize that they're going nowhere.
Right.
Make them realize कि भाई, so unlearning का process होता है ये, right?
ठीक है.
उसके बाद after they've emptied the glass, we tell them, भाई this is the things. If you tell them, if you do them, you'll be able to find some result. That is not that I'm telling you. These are the books or the researches that people have done for so many years, and they've published. उसके बाद मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, right? And we experience, we make them experience these learning things with some activities, or some games or simulation exercises, case studies, role plays, right? And then they realize, okay, what this is what was missing in me, and then they freeze in their behavior, and that's where that behavior, with जो नया behavior जो आया है, because they found some value, they found some realization,
Right.
and that stays in their mind, in their being when they work. That's the process that we follow.
Makes sense. And so, Divesh, if I had to ask you that, if I give you four things, right? Motivation, love, courage, and suppose success. आपके लिए उनकी definition क्या होने वाली है? And where do you think your motivation comes from to do these trainings, and how do you get up in the morning, basically?
So you talk about four things: motivation, love, discipline, and courage.
Courage.
Right? ये सारी चीज तो जरूरी है. I think
Right.
कहीं ना कहीं I will not, I'll be, it will be very, very difficult for me to give a weightage कि कितना कितना percent role था. But I think two things that really works for me are, number one is curiosity. I'm very, very curious. So
Right.
अगर मुझे तो पता चलता है that okay, this is one thing जो आपको पता नहीं है, तो I'll make it a point, I'll sit down, Google, मैं बिल्कुल वो रिसर्च हैट पहन लेता हूँ, फिर मैं उसके I'll go deeper like that. So curiosity is one thing that I'm very, very eager to know things. जब the moment I get to know कि हाँ ये मुझे को पता नहीं है, So I'll really dig down. I'll go deeper into it. And number two is I have a research based mindset.
Hmm.
So I love and I truly believe in going deeper into the things. And same thing, for example, you not believe. Let me share a personal example. Is that after being in training and development domain for a decade,
Hmm.
uh, I still remember one of the corporates I would not name. I was full time employee there,
Hmm.
and it was extempore, and I had to talk about a topic, about a subject for like 10 minutes in front of almost like 50 senior professionals, and they're like
Hmm.
key stakeholders. And you don't be Toastmaster में तो हम कुछ भी बोल देते थे. The
Right.
stakes were like absolutely low over there.
Low.
Nothing
Exactly.
to lose.
Right.
And like stakes are very very high. People are
Hmm.
judging you, and you are at a senior level, and they're also senior, more senior to you.
Hmm.
And I went blank. I was absolutely speechless. I was मुझे पता नहीं क्या हुआ था, and
Hmm.
maybe I was nervous in something, and it was a complete flop show.
Hmm.
And that incident hit me hard somewhere in my heart. And that moment was actually a very compelling moment, and it really hit me hard somewhere deep down inside. And मुझे कहीं ना कहीं लगा कि you know कहीं ना कहीं ego भी आता है that you've spent some time in the industry. 10 साल आप लोगों को train कर लिया. You're like the master, you can speak. But I was very very wrong.
Hmm.
कहीं ना कहीं एक realization हुआ कि no, I think you still have miles to go.
Hmm.
Train करना is different thing, but there are so many other areas which now you know that you don't know,
Exactly.
right? And that's where uh, I was a part of Toastmasters,
Hmm.
because I was that point of time was very very passionate about public speaking. I had to go deeper into that.
Hmm.
So Toastmaster में भी मतलब I thoroughly enjoyed the tenure, and जो भी हमने किया था
Hmm.
table topics था, जो भी
Exactly.
हमारी story थी, I truly love that, and that's the reason Toastmaster happened with me. So I
Okay.
think curiosity has
Hmm.
led me to a lot of places, and the research mind
Hmm.
that has really worked for me for my life.
Makes sense. And so, Devesh, the incident you were talking about, this took place in back in
Back in I think around 2018,
2018,
17,
and
18 years.
then you joined Toastmasters कि इसको improve करना है, and
Yes.
we'll have to get to the bottom of this कि why this happened.
Yes.
Understood. And so, Devesh, I understood from this incident also that you know, uh, guys, Devesh is an absolute phenomenal speaker. But during a icebreaker, or I believe second or third speech होगी आपकी जिसके अंदर you were also becoming blank. This happened to me once in my lifetime, and I was totally जो होता है कि भाई
हाँ.
बिल्कुल ही समझ नहीं आ रहा हो क्या रहा है. And when to everyone who's listening or watching this, when you go blank on stage, it's absolutely devastating. Everyone is looking at you, all eyes are on you, and you don't remember what you had to say. You don't remember the next lines you want to say, and there is nothing coming out of your mouth. I believe this happened with you also. This and as a
So many times.
exactly and as a public speaker, this happens to us almost. मतलब सबके साथ हो चुका है ये. So we can all
Exactly.
relate to this.
Right.
What do you think? What was your reason for this? And how did you overcome this? मतलब basically what was your steps कि यार अब नहीं होना चाहिए ऐसा.
So I think this also happened with me initially, though,
Hmm.
and I told you the incident that happened after having spent a decade in the speaking domain.
Hmm.
So I think it's very very natural. So I'll first tell you कि मेरे को अभी realization होता है कि मैं करता क्या था, and
Hmm.
how people who are watching us, they can help. This thing can help.
Right.
I think I always give the example that so if I give you two packets, let's
ठीक
say,
है.
okay, one packet has got marigold seed,
Hmm.
other packet has got a poisonous plant seed,
Hmm.
and if you अब इस दोनों पौधों को आप जमीन के अंदर डालते हो,
ठीक
my
है.
question is that which plant will come out first?
The marigold.
Very good.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Because we are like we always taught to think positive,
Hmm.
right? All that. But the reality is that जो land है,
Hmm.
land will do no discrimination कि अच्छा you're a good seed, I'll
हाँ.
take you out first, and you're a bad seed, I'll delay the process.
हाँ.
What the seed will go into the same process of germination.
Exactly.
इसका मतलब है दोनों को उतना ही टाइम लगेगा जितना लगता है,
सही कह रहे हो. हाँ.
right? So our mind is the same thing.
Hmm.
Mind is also like land. जिस thought को मैं ज्यादा हवा दूंगा,
Hmm.
वही चीजें मेरे साथ होंगे. So I used to do a lot of self sabotaging to me myself.
ठीक है।
सो वो स्टेज में जाना है,
हम्म।
अगर मैं नहीं बोलूंगा तो क्या होगा, वो मेरे बारे में क्या सोचेगा, राइट, व्हाट इफ आई फेल.
हम्म।
एंड आई थिंक ये ज्यादा होता था व्हेन यू आर कॉर्पोरेट एम्प्लॉय, बिकॉज द स्टेक होल्डर्स आर की स्टेक होल्डर्स. ओ माय
एग्जैक्टली।
गॉड, अगर मैं फेल हो जाऊंगा तो बॉस क्या सोचेगा, बॉस की सोचेगा, अप्रेजल बिगड़ जाएगा, अप्रेजल बिगड़ जाएगा तो मेरे प्लान का क्या होगा, फिर
हम्म।
गोल का क्या होगा, फिर मेरे फैमिली का क्या होगा, फिर वो हॉलिडे कैसे जाऊंगा. मतलब इट स्पाइरल्स आउट.
एग्जैक्टली।
And our the good thing or the bad thing, I think the bad thing with the mind is that जिसको आप बिलोगे ना, it expands,
हम्म।
it grows. And I used to do a lot of negative thinking about myself कि अगर मैं
हम्म।
भूल जाऊंगा. And now what I do is that I don't think too much about it. I
ओके।
just do 2 3 deep breaths, and I think
हम्म।
about 2 3 things, like I think I've practiced it enough. I think I've it's been quite some time I've been speaking, and I think I should do a good job.
हम्म।
And there are 2 3 things I really take care of, and you would not believe, a lot of people have even told me in the Toastmasters and in my entire career, people had been telling me that Devesh, you have a tendency that you speak a little fast.
हम्म।
Or fast बोलने से क्या होता है कि that we forget to pay attention to the breathe.
एग्जैक्टली।
And there's a beautiful line that really works for me, and I really live up to it always, is
हम्म।
that speak as you breathe.
हम्म।
तो पहले में क्या होता था, एक तो मैंने उल्टा सीधा बोला भी स्टेज में जाने से पहले, and
राइट।
I'm on the stage hassled, and
हम्म।
I'm breathing fast also, and then I try to do a good job. It's not
हम्म।
possible.
एग्जैक्टली।
So I go there,
हम्म।
right? I just take care of my composure,
हम्म।
right? I just relax myself by taking 2 3 deep breaths, and I'm always present to my breathing. And I
हम्म।
make sure that I'm breathing, I'm speaking as I'm breathing, because
राइट।
I wanted to put forth as a very comfortable and a relaxed speaker to my audience.
हम्म।
So ये 2 3 चीजें मैं करता हूँ. I think that really works well.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And so, just adding on to this, ki when you're saying these things, first of all, Marigold example was phenomenal, and your of course the ground decides which seed will does not decide, it does not discriminate. And exactly, so the quote that I remember is, if you focus on the positivity or positive things, it grows.
Yep.
If you focus on shit, the shit
Of
grows.
course.
And this is so nice. And yes. So if I had to ask you, what do you think are the major problems that today, public speakers or people who are going on the stage, they face? Because we have understood in Toastmasters कि बहुत लोगों की दिक्कत है and problem है to face their fears of public speaking. So how do you tackle this, and what would your recommendations be to a person who's going on the stage maybe tomorrow or day after that?
Yeah, so I was talking about, I wanted to complete that time, is that I'm solving problem at 2 level.
Hmm.
One, what I had told you was the organization level problems,
Right.
that there is a mismatch of vision and
Vision.
people are ignorant.
Hmm.
Second problem which I'm solving is the problem of self-expression.
Hmm.
I go to a lot of colleges, and there are
Okay.
youngsters over there.
Right.
They have amazing content. They've got a lot of good stories they want to share, but
Hmm.
they're hesitant. उनको लगता है कि that who will listen to us, or what if I go wrong,
Right.
right? They lack expressions.
Hmm.
ये मैं almost like some of the best of the colleges, I have been there,
Hmm.
A grade colleges and a lot of B grade colleges across Delhi NCR and outside the state.
Right.
So I must have met more than a lakh in a year college students, and that is what I experienced, that more than 80% of the people are hesitant. They
Hmm.
lack self-expression. So one recommendation I would want to give them is that it's like if you have a content, if you're not sharing it with the world, it's like you're punishing yourself,
Hmm.
right? And do not think that you have to be perfect. I always use this quote, is that perfection is prison.
Hmm.
Perfection is prison. It's like you have a brand new Ferrari in front of your house, and you parked it. It's just driving from there, and
Hmm.
you're thinking that you'll take out the Ferrari only when all the signals are green on the road, and that's never
Hmm.
possible. So that is the pity, is that the process is that you'll make mistake, you'll learn, you'll make mistake, you'll learn, you'll make mistake, you'll learn it,
Hmm.
right? Otherwise, वो बोलते हैं ना, ECG में भी line straight तभी आती है when you're when you're gone, when you're
Gone.
dead.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty, is that you make
Hmm.
mistake and then you learn. That realization is very, very powerful.
Hmm. Makes sense.
And I'll tell you 2 things about public speaking. Always remember that this is one skill. Public speaking is, by the way, is one of the high income skill.
Hmm.
Public speaking में क्या होता है? Every time you speak in front of the people, you have a power
Hmm.
to change your perception in people's mind.
Exactly.
You know, somebody could be thinking that, oh, he's a jerk. Somebody
Hmm.
might be thinking that he is not good enough, and somebody thinking that, okay, you're below average. People
Hmm.
have different perception about yourself, and you
Right.
have an ultimate power with yourself. Is that with your voice, you
Hmm.
can change your perception overnight.
Hmm.
That's number one. I mean, this power completely lies within you. And number two is that public speaking can increase your impact, influence, and income. So I think
Hmm.
this is one skill we must develop, because अब no matter आप कहीं भी जाओ,
Hmm.
आज के टाइम में you do admin work, marketing work, sales work, HR work, any damn work, कहीं ना
Hmm.
कहीं presentable is presentation skill is one of the key aspect of every job. You have to present, you have to stand and talk.
Makes
It's all
sense.
about idea sharing,
Hmm.
right? I think this skill, I think we must, and I think we should not be scared of कि मैं स्टेज पे अगर मैं भूल भी गया तो you have to remember you're not standing or speaking in front of hungry lions. They're not
Hmm.
going to eat you up,
Exactly.
right? So that's how it is.
Makes sense. जो लास्ट लाइन थी ऑफ कोर्स इट यू नो रियली रेजोनेट्स कि कोई भूखा शेर नहीं बैठा सामने.
Exactly.
You know people are afraid about getting socially stigmatized and socially isolated कि यार मैंने कुछ ऐसा बोल दिया तो क्या होगा. And yes, impact, influence, and
Income.
income. This is such a brilliant point.
Yeah.
And to give everyone the example, हम अभी 1 घंटे से सिर्फ mic setups कर रहे थे. And what he said is correctly very correct in saying कि सब कुछ सही नहीं हो सकता है, right? You have to start somewhere
Exactly.
and perfection नहीं होगा. So everyone who is listening or watching this, अगर आपको लगे थोड़ा ऑडियो बेकार है पर सुन लेना. Right? We are not going for perfection, we are going for getting
Execution.
execution.
Exactly.
Exactly. So this is brilliant, Devesh. Now if you could help me understand कि when I was in my public speaking journey, I understood कि मैं जितनी मेहनत करूंगा the results would be directly proportional. कि you know I prepared for the ISC contest, and I practiced that speech somewhere around 50 times, and then I was able to win, you know, at club
Yep.
level. So but I was not disciplined at all in any of the, you know, I'm not. But I believe kahin na kahin, what your results you are getting in life, you can attribute to discipline. Do you think discipline plays an important role in what you are doing today, and how would you tell people कि यार discipline बहुत जरूरी है?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, I'll tell you a funny example.
Hmm.
When I started working in this training and development company, for me, discipline was like, okay, ठीक है, हो जाएंगे एक दिन discipline. But
Right.
वो school, college और ये पहला break जो
Hmm.
company मिला था, I was not disciplined. I was very, very true. I was
Right.
serious at work, but I was not disciplined.
Hmm.
मतलब कोई routine नहीं था. Uh, I had to go to one of the schools and I had to conduct a 1 hour session for, I think, some teachers and some students on time management.
Okay.
And I reached late on a time management session. I always tell the example. And my boss, I was waiting for me furiously, after I came back from the session.
Hmm.
And that day, I realized the importance of discipline.
Hmm.
So, उसके बाद क्या होता है कि the beauty is that इस domain में होने के बाद you talk about time management, talking about
Hmm.
positive attitude, you talk about communication, से कहीं ना कहीं वो आपके जहन में आने लगता है.
Exactly.
But otherwise, I think yes, discipline का बहुत ज़्यादा role होता है life में. And I
Hmm.
think I am also not very disciplined, but I think there are certain things uh, which are absolutely non-negotiables जो मैं
Hmm.
हमेशा करता हूँ. So I'll tell you two things. A lot of programs that I do are also outbound training programs. So
Hmm.
also train people on team building stuff and all that. So एक बार I think 2013 की बात है शायद. It was a completely outbound training program. It was happening in one of the resorts in Gurgaon.
Hmm.
और it started early morning and it went off till late night. तो
Okay.
काफी दौड़ भाग वो सब हुआ था. And I had a back issue.
Hmm.
और वो इतना crucial हो गया that I had to go for an MRI. और
अच्छा.
मुझे पता चला कि मेरे को स्लिप डिस्क है.
Oh.
I got an operation 2013,
Okay.
2013 में. और उसके बाद 2013 के बाद अभी कुछ साल पहले तक ऑलमोस्ट
Hmm.
लाइक 6-7 साल आई हैड अ वो पेन जाता ही था, रिकरिंग होता था.
Hmm.
मतलब पेन किलर खाने के बाद या फिर फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट के साथ सेशन लेने के बाद दैट विल गेट सब्सिडाइज्ड, बट 6 मंथ के बाद फिर से राइज होता, फिर अगेन पेन किलर.
Hmm.
एंड द सैडेस्ट पार्ट वाज दैट यू हैव टू डेल एडवाइस टू कंप्लीट बेड रेस्ट.
Hmm.
मतलब somebody who's like उसका काम ही एक्टिव रहना, मूव करना, मीटिंग करना, ट्रेनिंग करना, खड़े होकर बात करना. And so that is one thing, right? अब उसमें क्या हुआ कि why I'm telling you is just that because of that pain, because of that problem that happened,
Hmm.
it changed my life.
Hmm.
I did not let it break me, but something amazing came out. Now I'm so disciplined that you'd not believe. I try to get up in the morning, so I'm up by let's say 6 o'clock every day. First 1 hour, I dedicate it to my health, and no matter which part of the country, which part of the world I am,
Hmm.
I'll always do this back just to strengthen the core. I do this
Hmm.
exercise for 40 minutes, and that's absolutely non-negotiable. You would
Hmm.
not believe I've been doing that for the past 3-4 years now,
Hmm.
and touch wood, that problem did. I mean, has not been arising it. That's number one.
Understood.
And number two is that that is about health. And number two is that every time you think that you're not disciplined in your life, and whatever work you're doing it,
Hmm.
I think a why factor is very, very important. We have to remind ourselves that why did I start it, right? So, for example, if I started a company wherein I coach people, I
Hmm.
train corporate employees, and somewhere I'm not getting result, so I have to keep reminding myself that why did you start? आपने start ही क्यों किया था?
Hmm.
So you have to have that end goal very, very clear in the mind, and that is where that will make you discipline somewhere like that.
Understood. So focusing on the end goal,
Yes.
and the first thing was
Focusing on the end goal. Number one was why did you start,
right.
right?
Why did you
And
start?
number two is that something which is breaking, you have to solve it from the root,
Hmm.
and discipline comes in the picture
Exactly. Every single time.
every single time. Exactly.
Understood. And so Devesh, as you mentioned about this, backaches happening and healthy
Yep.
deterioration. So people always say कि young startups, start young, start early, start begin your journey, when you're young. But the problem with starting young is you don't have that experience, that
Correct.
knowledge, that expertise you want कि यार क्या सही है क्या गलत
Mm.
है, because that develops with experience, right?
Mm.
But as you gain experience, you start to age, you start to have a family also. So how do you think ki age matters in when you're starting your venture also?
Mm.
And do you think ki this matters, or this is just bullshit कि यार ऐसा कुछ नहीं है? You start when you have to start, and when the time is right, when you think कि यार अब तो करना है.
Mm.
Or do you think it should be very planned efforts,
Mm.
and it should be planned along, very minutest details?
Okay, great. Lovely question. So I would say like this. Like, planning is very important. I'm
Hmm.
not somebody who'll talk about sugar-coated things, but just because I'm doing it, I'll tell you that, oh, chal jata hai, kar lo, gym karo, not like that. But I think it has to be a planned way. It has to be executed in a planned way.
Hmm.
I'll tell you one thing is that if you're somebody who is in your job and you have something that you want to start your own, I would recommend you one thing is that never leave something which is sure for unsure. Two things. जब मैंने start किया था next step learnings, so उस point of time पे initial days में I had to do something. I should have done something जहाँ पे एक passive income generate हो रहा है. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, as an entrepreneur, we should always look for something called a recurring revenue model.
Okay.
इसका मतलब ये है कि entrepreneur के साथ सबसे बड़ा fight ये होता है that of course you have to take care of a lot of things. You have your expenses, you have employees जिसमें salary देना है, and then you have your personal uh,
Expenses.
expenses that has to be fulfilled. So we have to, I think, create something जहाँ पे अगर आपके key clients है, अगर आप किसी महीने for example आपने बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा business नहीं भी किया,
Hmm.
so you have something recurring. So वो आपको मिल ही रहा है. It could
Right.
be, for example, let's say you have created some online courses.
Hmm.
जो जो आपको 30% रेवेन्यू जनरेट करके दे ही रहे हैं.
ठीक है.
इट डजंट रियली मैटर कि वो अप्रेजल का टाइम है कि लॉकडाउन है क्या है.
Hmm.
आई थिंक वी नीड टू लुक फॉर दैट रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू मॉडल, एंड रिकरिंग रेवेन्यू मॉडल है, एंड इफ यू पुट इन सम हार्ड वर्क आई थिंक दैट added what you get is much big.
Hmm. Understood. So first of all, key you said about passive income and recurring revenue model. So you're saying ki this was a mistake that you made, or this is something that you could have done better in
Yes.
your system.
Yes.
Understood. And so Devesh, if I had to, pick your brain and take suppose books out of it, what books do you think I would find?
What
Ki,
box you will find?
yeah, what books?
Okay.
What books would you recommend the audience today?
Books. All right. uh Three books I would say. Number one is Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's mind-blowing book.
Okay.
It has given me a lot of value.
Hmm.
Compound Effect is one. Number two would be Ikigai.
Okay. Yes.
And number three would be Made in America, Sam Walton. It's the book written by the owner of the Walmart.
Okay.
It will give you mind-blowing tips how a business is run, like
Hmm.
that. So
Makes
this
so much sense. And two वाइल्ड कार्ड एंट्री बुक्स, सपोज कि आज किसी ने आपसे एकदम से पूछा कि यार क्या पढूं,
hmm,
व्हाट वुड यू रिकमेंड?
any book by I think Ankur Varko.
Makes so much sense. So yes, now if I had to tell you, or what is your routine like every single day as an entrepreneur, so what would your answer be to that? Ki uh, you plan your entire day beforehand, or you are this person कि यार आज बस ये देखते हैं, आज ये कंप्लीट होना चाहिए बस, that's it.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur and being in training and development domain, coaching domain, most of the times I'm traveling,
Understood.
and when I'm not traveling, I'm meeting. So
Hmm.
I'm out for meeting. कभी गुड़गांव में, कभी नोएडा में, कभी फरीदाबाद में, कभी आउट स्टेशन. And someday when जब मीटिंग भी नहीं है और ट्रेनिंग भी नहीं है, so I try to lead a very productive day. So
Hmm.
जैसे कि मैंने बताया था कि उठते ही सबसे पहले 1 hour is dedicated to the health.
Right.
उसके बाद I try to read at least 5 pages, at
Hmm.
least 5 pages, and it's easier said than done, but ऐसा कभी होता नहीं है. It's like a very एक one fancy. I'm just fancying one day जहाँ पे I would love to read 5 days. I try to read five pages उस दिन. Uh, Sales has always been an integral part. So
Hmm.
even if let's say the month is good और मेरे पास टाइम भी है और जब कई बार मीटिंग में जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, I would love to do some 5-6 cold calling.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know, but लोग कई बार बोलते हैं कि now you are like at a founder space now,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I think cold calling जब मैंने करियर की स्टार्ट करी थी, I was kind of a telecaller और मैं टेलीफोन से उस समय लैंडलाइन होता था, लैंडलाइन
Hmm.
फोन करके इनिशियल मोबाइल था, लोगों को पिच करके आई यूज्ड टू सेल प्रोडक्ट्स लाइक दैट. आई थिंक आई ट्रूली एंजॉय दैट. तो अभी भी आज भी यू नॉट बिलीव आई हैव अ रजिस्टर जहाँ पे मैंने मेंटेन किया हुआ है डेट वाइज कितने क्लाइंट्स से मैंने जितने प्रॉस्पेक्ट से मैंने फोन किया है. तो आई थिंक
Hmm.
मैं टिपिकल गोल्स में एक एक पोर्शन हमेशा रहेगा. आई हैव मेड सम 6-7 कोल्ड कॉल्स टू अ न्यू
Hmm.
कॉर्पोरेट, टू अ न्यू प्रोस्पेक्ट, एंड आई हैव पिच्ड माय प्रोडक्ट लाइक दैट.
अच्छा.
तो आई थिंक 2-3 थिंग्स, हेल्थ हो गया एक
Hmm.
नंबर, सेल्फ डेवलपमेंट, कुछ बुक्स हो गई, कुछ
Hmm.
बुक्स में कुछ वीडियोस हो गई, टेक टॉक्स आई यूजुअली वॉच,
Okay.
एंड third would be telecalling. And of course, yeah, I would love to spend time with family. So ultimately, whatever I'm doing it, I'm doing it for them only. So
Exactly.
I keep that like a top priority.
Makes sense. And so, Devesh, if I had to ask you, you just mentioned, you watch TED Talks and videos. What top three would be your recommendations to the people today?
YouTube में
Yes.
I would recommend that to watch any TED Talk. But उसमें
Okay.
TED Talk में I would tell you two things that I found really valuable is that number one,
Hmm.
एक है I think Julian Treasure का एक topic है how to talk so that people listen. That's
Okay.
mind blowing.
Understood.
नंबर टू एक है टेड टॉक का टाइटल है मेक योर बेड.
Hmm. By a naval officer, right?
एग्जैक्टली.
Yeah.
आई थिंक कैप्टन एडमिरल मैक्रेवन. या
Yes.
एग्जैक्टली
Yes.
मेक योर
Yes.
बेड.
Right.
एंड आई थिंक I like people who talk straight, who talk
Hmm.
reality,
Hmm.
who talk blunt things openly. One guy I'm really fond of, I even attended his physical session last year, is Ron Malhotra.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Ron
Ron,
Malhotra. And I'm always fascinated ki I never understood first of all who
mm,
is. I'm really sorry for that
yeah.
and all the fans who are watching this right now.
No worries.
But yes, I have not given that time or spent that time in understanding who is. But I found him very influential,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And very influential. I mean, you will always see people around him. You will always see that busyness around him, the buzz around him. So first of all, if you could tell us about that interaction that you had and that meeting, how did that go, and what did you pick it up from him? If Ron fans are
Oh
watching,
my
or
god.
Ron wants to.
This becoming the Ron show now.
Exactly. So what was your कि होता है ना ये people
Yeah.
influence, right? You influenced me in different ways. I learned so many things today. So how did you get influenced
So
from
I
that?
think last year he had come to India. I think it was
Hmm.
January 2023. No, not
Okay.
January, June 2023, exactly a year ago.
Hmm.
And I was doing my session in Ghaziabad, and
Understood.
he had his session in Gurgaon in one of the hotels in what do you call that airport stretch? Aerocity, exactly.
Aerocity.
Aerocity, I think
Right.
Pullman Hotel.
Okay.
And I finished my session at 5 o'clock in the evening. and I drove down there. I'd taken a ticket.
Mm.
I had to go there, and moreover that I wanted to see him, meet him.
Mm.
And the interaction was for I think couple of 3 hours, I think, yes.
Okay.
And he talked about, of course, he talks about three things, which is uh, business, communication, and wealth, and
Okay.
real estate. He talks about
Acha.
business, real estate, and wealth. He talks about,
Understood.
and I got my queries answered. A lot of business queries that I had.
Mm.
He blew my mind with wealth concepts,
Mm.
and
Okay.
he talked about a lot of things that an entrepreneur needs at actually that point of time.
Mm.
So as an entrepreneur, he talks about a lot of things. And I had my questions. I had written down my questions, and I had taken a ticket जहाँ पे one-to-one question answer भी था Ron के साथ. I
Mm.
think I answered that. He answered that, and I found a lot of value.
Mm.
So मेरे concept clear हुआ wealth के बारे में,
Mm.
real estate के बारे में. He gave me some mind blowing trajectories जहाँ पे हमें अगर हम कहीं invest कर रहे हैं real estate में भी तो क्या क्या सोचना चाहिए. And
Mm.
he talked about some really well-worn moments for me when I talked about business. As an
Understood.
entrepreneur, what should be my next step?
And you implement those
Yes,
things.
absolutely. Yes.
Mm. Makes
One
sense.
question I still remember is that first I heard him talking about investment. So I told him
Okay.
that, I'm like a startup and I
Mm.
may not have a lot of fund coming in. My cash flow is not too much. And where
Mm.
do you think the cash flow in invest कहाँ पे करना चाहिए? And what I like about it is that very, very blunt.
Mm.
He'll not make you feel good. He'll make you feel uncomfortable. He said that जब आपके पास, when we don't even have cash flow, how can you even invest? So
Mm.
your first initial, every day, your day should be like 80% time you should only be focusing on the advertisement.
Mm.
You talk about be it social media. I mean, you just go be a shameless self,
Mm.
then only you will sell. So you have to first kick off from where you are, and
Exactly.
the funds will only move in.
Makes sense. Tabhi, Devesh, I'm seeing so much of you on LinkedIn, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
वो बोलते हैं ना जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
Dikta,
Yeah,
exactly.
and it
Exactly.
works exactly.
And
Yes.
yes, it definitely helps a lot. So if I had to ask you, what today in your startup journey, what keeps you up at night? Ki aap, you're in still, I believe, in the 0 to 1 phase, right? What keeps you up at night? कि यार किस पे मुझे भाई पूरी रात जाग के मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी.
I would say two things.
Hmm.
Whatever work that I'm doing it, I have always attached an emotional goal.
Hmm.
लोग बोलते हैं कि take out a pen and a diary, write
Right.
down your goal, paste it
Right.
somewhere. That's
Right.
okay. But I think an emotional goals is much more powerful.
Hmm.
Emotional goal में क्या है? Emotional goal could be, for example, let's say, whatever I'm doing, I believe that I'm doing it because I wanted to give a better lifestyle to my family. वो
Right.
मेरे लिए एक बहुत ही burning emotional goal है जो मुझे करना ही
Hmm.
है.
Hmm.
It's like बोलते हैं ना कि बहुत I'm restless कि मुझे जाना है
Hmm.
इस एज तक.
Hmm.
So मैं कुछ भी प्रोजेक्ट है, कुछ भी वर्क करता हूँ, I my they're always at the back of my head कि I'm doing it
Hmm.
for them, right? So I speed up, I speed up myself, I push things harder, right?
Hmm.
It takes me out of my confinement, number
Hmm.
one. And number two, what keeps me up at night is somewhere I'm able to add value in people's life. If
Hmm.
somebody is able to add value in his life because I show up someday, I
Right.
think that's a truly fulfilling moment for me.
Hmm. कि if I had to talk to you about कि when you're attaching an emotional goal towards it, right? People always say कि यार emotions में attach करो, just
Just
be क्योंकि as a founder, most of the founders are always attached to their product or the service, so they don't understand the feedbacks, they don't take care of that. So how do you think कि
ये
ये important है बहुत ज़्यादा कि यार I don't attach my emotions to it, I just work towards the goal and pivot whatever market is telling me and then pivot towards that, and I don't attach my emotions to it. How do you think that affects your
all right. So I'll
trajectory?
tell you two things. Uh, Bringing emotion into your work and having an emotional goals are two different things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Emotional goal is, for example, that I want to buy a great house to my family. Now that's
Right.
a burning desire that you have,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
right? And if you have a burning desire that you want to find something, you want to get something for yourself, for
Mm.
somebody that made make a value in your life, is that automatically उस चीज के लिए बहुत ही ज्यादा hunger के साथ काम करने लग जाते हो, and it will
Makes
give you
sense.
fulfillment, it will speed up,
Mm.
right? It will take you to places. but just because you have that hungerness,
Hmm.
right? Number one. Number two, bringing emotion into your work. For example, I'm not saying that when you're doing a work or a business, you need to be emotionally
Hmm.
weak.
Hmm.
No, having an emotional goal will make you emotionally stronger. That is what I'm
Hmm.
saying. That is what is I'm saying. Yep.
Understood. Having an emotional goal would make you an emotionally stronger
Yes.
person. Taki, all these
So that
lows,
you deal with the things in a stronger way. Yep.
right? All the lows that you face as a founder or as a
Yes.
startup, you can tackle those. कि यार हाँ एक motivation है.
Exactly.
Understood. Makes sense.
So
So
if I
if I, on a personal level, Devesh, now let's dig down on me. For example, I'm 25 years old, right? Anybody in your audience also, you will have people who are 25-year-olds, 26-year-olds who are just figuring out life. Maybe started their first jobs. What would your recommendation to those people and me personally be? What should we focus on? Money, wealth, lifestyle, discipline. This is one, and second would be your generic recommendation to the folks who are just watching,
mm,
कि who are in their 20s, moving on to 30s, की life अभी plan करनी
mm.
है. And
See,
so in that case, what would your recommendation be to those people?
my recommendation would be that I would say that focus on two, three things. Number
Hmm.
one would number one would be find out a high income skill. I would say
Hmm.
high income skill could be anything. It could be web designing. It could be digital marketing. It could be communication. It could be problem solving skills.
Hmm.
There are so many things. You Google it. You'll find a lot of things. You find
Right.
something that is easily learned,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that could give you जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा effort नहीं करके you're able to solve a bigger problem. So
Makes
that you're
sense.
able to fulfill your personal goals, professional goals. So
Hmm.
find out a high income skill.
Hmm.
Number two, learn some money management skills at an early stage only. I think 20s are amazing things. 20s are
Hmm.
amazing age जहाँ पे अभी अगर आपने invest कर लिया, by the time you are 40s and 50s, you don't even have to work, right?
Exactly.
And I would recommend that to learn a lot of things about mutual fund. I would say, right? The 20s are an amazing age. I said learn some high income skill, learn
Hmm.
about some money management skill, and number three is that I think you should respect time.
Hmm.
In everything, your health will you'll for example, let's say whatever you have built, it will go, it will come back. But
Hmm.
when time is gone, it will never come back. And I still remember being in my 40s is that I could have done a lot of things in my
Hmm.
20s, which I just thought, kar lenge baad mein. But that time did not
Exactly.
come. And of course, I could have done a lot of things on because I'm learning those money management skills now. It's been
Hmm.
almost like quite some time now, 5 6 years ago only I realized the importance of how important the wealth is.
Hmm.
So 20s are amazing things. I think at the same time, I'm not saying that you should be very, very serious about your life, but these
Okay.
three things we talked about, uh, take it a time that take out some time and just focus on these things. I think this will give you a meaningful purpose for the times to come.
Hmm. Makes sense. And so, yes, on the parting thoughts that we have right now, so we'll have just completed an hour or so of conversation, very meaningful conversation and very interesting talks. We'll have Devesh again on the show, and we'll talk to you again for, because there's so many things that we would love to ask you and dig down deeper. On the parting thoughts, what would you like to tell people, or what would your फाइनल लाइन भी, कि मतलब ऐसा होता है ना कि यार ये तो मुझे बोलना ही बोलना है. So yes, the stage is
So my
yours.
final lines will be that I would tell you this line which I had read somewhere is that
Hmm.
life के पहले 30 years में
Hmm.
we build our habits, we build our everything.
Right.
And 30 years के बाद में लाइफ के फर्स्ट 30 years में वी बिल्ड आवर हैबिट्स एंड
Hmm.
लाइफ के नेक्स्ट 30 years हमारे हैबिट्स जो होते हैं हमें बिल्ड करते हैं. So we
Exactly.
should invest amazing things into our first 30 years
Hmm.
so that we don't have to work hard later.
Hmm.
And one thing I would say that, see, hard work to करना पड़ेगा, right? You have to, there is no shortcut in that. You have
Yeah.
to work hard. You have to,
Makes
वो
sense.
बोलते हैं ना कि the more you sweat in peace, the
Hmm.
less you bleed in war,
Exactly.
right? It's your choice, hard work अभी करना है कि बाद में करना है, but
Hmm.
करना तो पड़ेगा. I would say that uh, think wisely, right? Figure out things which will give you meaningful purpose, which will give you some meanings in life. Do that
Hmm.
in the first 30 years so that for the next 30 years, you don't have to worry about it. I would say this. And at the same time, would say that respect time, right? Value your family. because everything I think you're doing it just to support
Hmm.
them. You just want to give a better lifestyle. And my
Exactly.
parting comes will be at the same time, do not stop having fun.
Hmm.
That's also very very important. And take it easy. And I think if you focus and you don't have to think about 3 4 10 items, focus on
Hmm.
only two things, but you have a laser sharp focus in that, and I
Hmm.
think everything will fall in place.
Makes so much sense. Thank you so much, Devesh. And just one more important thing that we have is we have introduced something called as Chat GPT questions.
Okay.
So I'm just going to search some questions. We already have a prompt ready, and I'm just going to search some questions, and then let's see what Chat GPT wants to ask you, and we'll ask that question
All
to you.
right.
Right? So okay, so we are asking this question to a founder of a learning development, a training and development company founder, and he has rich experience of about
20 years.
20 years in this field, and he's doing a podcast. So what questions would you like to ask him?
Same.
Right? Okay. So yes, so we have one question, and I like this question very much, that you can ask the person or the guest one story that you would really like to tell the viewers.
Okay.
So one story that you really resonate with and you want to tell to people.
All right. All right. So let me tell you the story that I had heard at the start of my career, and that
Hmm.
has given me a lot of value, given me a lot of meanings. So like, there was a naughty boy, and this guy used to live in the valley, and this valley
Hmm.
was surrounded by beautiful mountains. And one day he got bored कि यार मैं थोड़े से जगह में रहता हूँ, I think I should go to the mountain. And one day वो mountain से तरफ जाना शुरू करता है. He climbs up the mountain, and mountain के top में पहुंच जाता है.
Hmm.
And when he finds himself at the top of the mountain, he's suddenly covered with the dark big shadow, and he looks up, and there was a big golden eagle which was flying in the sky.
Hmm.
Golden eagle, by the way, is called the king of the sky.
Okay.
And फिर वो आगे बढ़ता है, देखता है कि वहाँ पे सामने एक बहुत ही बिग फैट बैनियन ट्री है. उस बैनियन ट्री में चढ़ जाता है वो, एंड उसमें देखता है कि वहाँ पे एक नेस्ट है बर्ड का, एंड दैट
Hmm.
दैट वाज अ गोल्डन ईगल नेस्ट. उसमें 2 3 अंडे होते हैं. ही पिक्स अप वन एग, ही कम्स डाउन, कम अपने वैली में आता है, अपने गांव में आता है, एंड ही प्लेसेस दैट गोल्डन ईगल एग विद 3 4 चिकन एग के बीच में रख देता है वो. So there
Hmm.
were 3 chicken egg. He places one golden eagle egg, so it becomes 4 eggs. अब ये जो बॉय था इसका रोल ओवर हो चुका है ना, ठीक है.
Hmm.
नाउ 4 eggs. आफ्टर सम डेज एग्स आर हेच्ड, राइट. अब उसमें 3 चिकलेट बाहर आते हैं और एक इगलेट बाहर आता है.
Hmm.
So four that's a chicks,
Birds, huh? Four
four four
birds.
four chicks. So 3 chicklets, 1 eaglet,
Hmm.
and these 4 chicks का job same ही होता था हर दिन. So every day they'll jump, they'll hop, they'll peck on the dirt and all. ठीक है. So वो लोग भी कुछ टाइम गुजरता है, they also bored कि यार we are very very confined, इसी locality में हम रहते हैं. They look up and they say कि oh my god, beautiful mountain, let's go up there.
Uh,
अब ये चारों लोग अपनी सफर शुरू करते हैं towards that mountain.
right.
And then when they're going right, and जब वो ऊपर जाते हैं, पहुंच जाते हैं जैसे जैसे करके, धीरे धीरे करके ऊपर पहुंच जाते हैं. एंड जब वो ऊपर पहुंचते हैं तो अगेन देर कवर्ड विद दैट अगेन शैडो, बिकॉज ऊपर गोल्डन ईगल रहते हैं.
Hmm.
सो जैसे ही वो कवर्ड होते हैं, सारे लोग ऊपर देखते हैं. तो सारे लोग मतलब 3 चिकलेट एंड 1 इगलेट.
Hmm.
सो इगलेट जो होता है वो बोल पड़ता है कि ओ माय गॉड, व्हाट अ ब्यूटीफुल बर्ड,
Hmm.
व्हाट बर्ड इज दैट. तो जो 3 चिकलेट होता है वो बोलते हैं कि स्टूपिड, यू डोंट इवन नो, दैट्स गोल्डन ईगल, दैट्स किंग ऑफ द स्काई, द रूलर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड. तो इगलेट बोलता है कि आई ऑल्सो वांट टू फ्लाई लाइक दैट बर्ड.
Hmm.
तो चिकलेट बोलता है यू आर अ चिकलेट, यू कैन नेवर फ्लाई लाइक ईगलेट, you can never fly like a golden eagle. Let's go home, it's getting dark, parents must be waiting. And that eaglet, throughout his journey way back home, kept on thinking he could never lose the sight of that golden eagle.
Hmm.
And वो सोचता रहा कि कितना ब्यूटीफुल बर्ड था. नीचे आ जाते हैं, ठीक है. अगले दिन से फिर से फोर फोर चिक्स, they'll jump, they'll hop, they'll peck on the dirt. So golden eagle who was born to fly like an golden eagle in the sky. He was meant to be the ruler of the world, the king of the sky. But he lived a life of a chicken and he died a life of a chicken.
Hmm.
Right? So there are so many things on the life, man, that you are meant for something else. And you
Hmm.
realize that somewhere. And just because somebody said that you can't do that,
Hmm.
we believe that that's the reality. So
Exactly.
I want to tell to all of the audience that each one of you are born to fly like a golden eagle.
Hmm.
Don't live a life of a chicken.
So much and so powerful, Desh. It's really have to say that. And मेरे लिए स्टोरी का एक और essence था, because when that eagle was coming down the mountain, that eagle
A sight you could never lose of.
never lose
Yeah.
off. And I believe the greatest people in lives, even if they're not able to do big, but उनके दिमाग में कहीं ना कहीं रहता है,
Exactly.
it stays with them कि यार मुझे कुछ ना कुछ तो फोड़ना
Exactly.
है. But the chickens will never have
Exactly.
this in their minds कि नहीं यार कोई बात हो ही नहीं सकता, रहन दो, नहीं होगा. So they never think about it much more, they just think of it as a passing thought.
Exactly.
But the eagles always have this in the mindset कि first and primary thought तो यही रहता है कि यार
Yeah.
यहाँ से बाहर निकलना है, कुछ करना है. So I believe that was also a very good essence for me from the story. And thank you so much, Devesh, for sharing this story and all your life examples. We are so grateful to have you on board as a guest speaker. And to all those people who are watching and listening this podcast, you would find Devesh handles, social media handles on the description below, and we'll definitely tag him as well, and so you can ask your questions to him and whatever you want to inquire about. And apart from that, Devesh has a very brilliant agency that he runs for training and development. And I'll just give you, Devesh, 1 minute
Yeah,
to
yeah.
just pitch it to people
Sure.
and tell about what you do at Next Step Learnings, and what is it, your methodology,
Yeah.
and how you help people out. Yes.
Yeah. So Next Step Learning is a training and development organization. We work with corporate employees in the areas of personal development, communication, and leadership.
Mhm.
The programs that we have, the training solutions that we have are very, very experiential learning based. These are activity based programs, discovery based programs. We incorporate a lot of simulation exercise, brainstorming activities. We have case studies, business case studies,
Mhm.
and we have some of the finest trainers of the industries that we work with, and that's how we are able to solve a lot of burning corporate issues. And issues could be anything. It could be, for example, interpersonal skills issue. It could be, let's say, you're not able to fulfill your sales target. It could be you're not being able to give a constructive feedback to an employee. So these are some of the areas that a corporate deals in with, and I think somewhere we are able to make a difference. That's number one. Number two, I also coach a lot of people on their public speaking and communication abilities, so that
Understood.
they are able to build their impact and influence.
Mm.
Because most of the people I coach are corporate people only, and some are MBA students. They also are hesitant, which I was talking about, in self-expression. And you take it or leave it. Presentation is a part of your everyday life. So if this
Makes
is one
sense.
area, if you are able to master it, I think you're able to make a lot of difference in your personal and professional parlance, I think. So these are the
Mm.
two ways I'm able to help organization and people. Yep.
Thank you so much, Devesh, for this. And to all the people who are listening and watching this, in my also very short journey of corporate life that I have it, I believe self-expression बहुत ज़्यादा important है, and
Absolutely.
people are not able to, just tell what they're thinking, so that when you tell people what you're thinking about or what is going on in your mind, you set your expectations very clearly. And I believe सबसे ज़्यादा problem तभी होती है जब आप expectations clear
Yes.
नहीं रखते, and people expect this, people expect A to be done, but you deliver B. So then that gap is something that is very very difficult to communicate बाद में,
Absolutely.
and maybe causes a lot of friction
Absolutely.
in corporates as well.
Yep.
So yes, everyone who's watching, I am a testament that Devesh really helps people out, and he's a great example of a human being, and that is, I believe, is a great quality of him as a founder. So I definitely would like to love to suggest people to definitely choose him as a trainer and as a personal mentor and a coach. And yes, thank you everyone for watching, and thank you for listening to us. And yes, stay tuned for more episodes like this, and thank you so much, Devesh, for
Thanks,
being
Hriday,
with
for
us.
having me here. Thank you.
Done. Thank you.